Okay, folks, we got something completely different today. And I mean completely different. I ordered this mold off of eBay, and this is what I got. Broken channels. So after some discussion and some research with some colleagues or fellow cigar rollers, there is a way to fix this. So I figured I'd bring you guys along for the journey, just to, to document it and see either how good or how bad it actually goes. So what we're going to do is we take the channel out. We're going to sand this bottom a little bit. I'm going to sand this track a little bit, make sure it's good and clean. And then we're going to use, this is what I had. The recommendation was Type Bond 2. From what I understand, the difference between 2 and 3 is the setup time, and this is waterproof versus Type Bond 2, which is water resistant. And Type Bond 1 is for interior use only. So I figure with as much moisture is going to be in this cigar mold as we proceed, putting cigars in it. And this is what I had. So here we go. I just got a little piece of, this is 80 grit because it's what I had. But we're just going to very lightly clean off the bottom so we get a nice bond. The idea here is to clean off all of the old glue. And this edge is sharp too, so that's fine. And that looks nice and clean. That's better. Not trying to remove a whole lot of material. We're just trying to get the glue off. I'm going to do the same in the channel as best as possible anyway. Make sure we get the sides just enough to knock the old glue off. And that's exactly what I mean. All right, so pretty happy with that channel. And see the difference? We got most of the old glue residue off. There's still some in there. I don't want to remove too much material though, otherwise it won't fit correctly. And then we'll be in a problem. All right. I am going to take and sand this in just the littlest bit to make sure we can get a good mechanical bond between the two. Get a nigger. Who knew the pipe tool was going to come in handy for this? All right, that works. That edge smooth, that edge kind of smooth. I think before I glue any of these, I'm gonna do the whole thing. There's not a lot of glue residue, but you can see there is some right between the two channels and on the sides. There's quite a bit on the sides. Looks like it actually broke the wood. That's okay. We can fix that too. Take our little pick back in here. Dig out the corners. Little rag. This rag is dry. I don't want to introduce more moisture at this moment in time. You see, I'm not going to try to sand this perfectly smooth. I want these ridges to be in here. They'll create more of a mechanical bond with the glue, much like you would with epoxy and fiberglass or any of that. I'm much more familiar with fiberglass than I am with wood. But let's see here. This guy here. Same basic deal. You can see it just cracked and broke. Give it a little bit. Trying not to hit the actual ridges of the mold. I'm happy with that. Like I said, not removing a bunch of material. Just trying to rough it up a bit. We got some nice smoothness. Anywhere I see old residue, I try my best to get it off. Although the tight bond will bond to it, I'd rather just have a nice clean mating surface, well, as clean as possible. Okay. That looks pretty good. I'm sure this dude's clean too. Yeah, nice clean mating surface. I'm going to do the same to the bottom of each one. Same deal. You can see the old glue residue. That is perfect. Yep, a little bit more up there. See? Lots of glue buildup. No glue buildup. No glue buildup. A little bit more right there. That will work. Give the sides a very little hit. The sandpaper is fairly aggressive, so see all the glue buildup? Gone. 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 I already got that one. Okay, there are our pieces. Keep our work area relatively clean. So, this is my rolling table. All right. Let me make sure we know who goes where. Man. Yeah, that crack is going to be there. It's all right. We can work that out. All right. Make Make sure the surface is nice and clean. A little bit of tight bond. Probably more than enough. It's one of those times big fingers is not a nice thing to have. It's not a time to be skimpy with the glue. Put it on there. Think about how much pressure the press is going to put on this joint. I may do is come back in with some filler, some wood filler, and fill the gaps in the middle because you can see that there is a difference. That sandpaper removed way more material than I wanted it to. Probably should have gone with something much lighter, maybe like a 220 or something like that. But once again, 80 is what I had. So and it did not do that on that one. Hope it doesn't come back to bite me in the butt. Trick is going to be trying to line these up so that it will still fit the other half of the mold. You got a little pressure going that way. Make sure they're squeezed up as tight as I can get them. It looks pretty good. We'll see. Turn around. The same thing over here. Make sure it's clean. And apparently the Type Bond 3 has a 4,000 PSI strength. It's the strongest out of the Type Bond groups. I figure with as much pressure as we're going to put on this thing in the press, more is not a bad thing. All right, same deal. Try to make sure we can line it up as clean as possible and as straight as possible. Worst case, this channel is toast. It is pretty beat up. And even in the top half of the mold, it's got a little crack up towards, well, not a crack, but kind of a divot up towards the head. Okay. I just need a little something. I need something super heavy. It's just a little bit of weight. I don't want to mess up the channels. Oh, wait. I did see something else, too, that I wanted to fix while I was in here. Is that one? That one. There it is. That's the one. Shoot. There we go. Make sure everybody's still sitting pretty. Huh. And it's locked in. It ain't going nowhere. All right. And we'll let it sit probably till tomorrow. And we'll give her first run. All right. Thank you very much for tuning in, and we'll see you guys in the rolls.